Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News. Former Mayor and City Councilor Ken Baker has passed away. Ken served as a councilor from 1994 to 2000 and as mayor from 2000 to 2009. He was re-elected back in council in 2014 and just wrapped up his last term. The staff here at Primetime Local News send our condolences to Ken's family. We will have more, including reaction from the mayor and Ken's colleagues tomorrow on our newscast. Saskatchewan is reporting 4 more deaths from COVID-19, including one in the Northwest Zone, which includes Lloydminster and North Battleford. There are 235 new cases, including 10 in our zone. The subzone of Northwest 2, which is the immediate Lloydminster area, has 1 new case and 44 active cases. 2,864 cases are considered active in the province. 106 people are in hospital, including 7 in our zone. 19 people are in intensive care, with 1 in the Northwest Zone. 50 more people have recovered. This week is Victims and Survivors of Crime Week in Saskatchewan, and one Lloydminster woman is being recognized for her work in helping victims. Connor Chan has more.
Well, joining me here today is Jennifer Holberg, coordinator at Midwest Victim Services in Lloydminster, and also the recipient of the Excellence in Victim Service Award. Jennifer, congratulations to you, and also, were you surprised that you found out that you were the winner?
Yeah, I was actually really surprised. Just the nomination itself was, it kind of touched me. I got an opportunity to read through some of the submissions that were sent in by my colleagues and some of our past clients, as well as the RCMP members in our detachments that we serve. And just reading those letters, and it brought a tear to my eye, actually, and I wasn't expecting to actually receive the award, but just being nominated, I know it sounds cliche, but that in itself felt like a win to me. And then to learn that I'd actually been chosen for the award was even bigger shock, but kind of the cherry on top, I guess.
Does receiving this award put the work you do into perspective, knowing that you are recognized amongst your peers and also recognized for the work that you're doing here in Lloydminster and how that's benefiting people?
I don't think that any one of us goes into this type of career looking for the accolades or the pat on the back, but it definitely is nice to know that the work you're doing is acknowledged and recognized, and it's just a bit more fuel in the tank, so to speak, to keep doing what we're doing, because we know we're going in the right direction.
I know the ceremony would have been in person in Ottawa, so take us through how that ceremony all played out virtually.
Yeah, they held a virtual event this year. Like you said, because of COVID, we weren't able to travel to be there, which was too bad. But they did a really nice job of doing the ceremony virtually, and they had a really good keynote speaker that followed. So, yeah, no matter how you get the award, it's just still nice to have been acknowledged that way.
Now, this week is Victims and Survivors of Crime Week in Saskatchewan. How important is it for people to understand the severity of what victims experience, as well as understand what professionals like yourself do to help in these situations?
Yeah, I think that weeks like this are important because most people, unless they've been a victim of crime in the past, don't even really know that victim services exists, let alone understand what it is that we do. So weeks like this are a chance for us to highlight what we're doing, the important work that we're doing in our communities, so that victims and the community as a whole know what services are available should they need them in the future. And it is also an opportunity for survivors to come forward and share their stories of courage and resilience to inspire others as well.
Now, for someone that is watching, and if they feel that they need help, what's the best way that they can get help?
I guess the first step is for them to reach out for support, to talk to someone that they feel safe talking to. They can also call our office directly. They don't have to necessarily report an incident to the police in order to access our services. People can reach us by phone or email, and we can explain, what it will look like if they do provide a statement. We can walk them through the criminal justice process, the investigative process, prepare them a bit for what they can expect. And if they choose not to report to the police as of yet, we can give them some guidance as to safety planning and other resources that might help them in the short term or until they choose to do something different. There's no pressure from our office. You know, if somebody wants to just talk about what's going on for them personally, we're just there to give them tools and resources. We're not going to push someone in a direction that they're not comfortable with. Obviously, you know, if someone discloses things like child abuse to us, you know, there's different things that we have to do, but by and large, you know, people can contact us and we can just be that listening ear and a source of guidance for them.
And lastly, Jennifer, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I guess just one thing that I wanted to say is this award, I feel I'm receiving it on behalf of not just myself, but our entire program and the crew of people that are working with me each and every day. My assistant coordinators, Tammy and Kelly, our amazing team of volunteer advocates, and our board of directors. All of them are such integral pieces of the work we do, and I couldn't do what I do without them. We are really a family here at Midwest Victim Services. The work we do is very difficult emotionally, and so after those really difficult calls, we're there to debrief. We're there to pick each other up and dust each other off so that we can keep going and providing the important services that we do provide. And so I just want to thank my team that work behind the scenes with me each and every day. They mean so much to me.
Well, Jennifer, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations once again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It is time now for this week's retrospect. Here's Blake Nath.
This week in retrospect, as we approach a pandemic holiday season, we take a look back at the 1995 Christmas preview.
It's just around the corner. A quick check of the calendar and you'll know what I'm talking about. Christmas is just over 1 month away, and today, Christmas Preview 95 kicked off. The show features everything from equipment for summer water sports to fine china, to even a jersey autographed by the NHL's leading scorer, Marvelous Mario, as there's basically something for everyone.
Did you buy any Christmas presents right now?
I hope so. I bought some. Yeah, there's lots of nice things here.
Well, what meet your eye?
Ceramics, games, all kinds of things.
Just seeing everybody and all of the decorations and a lot of things that are good gift-giving ideas. Trying to get myself into the Christmas spirit, and this is really going to do it.
But some are singing a different tune.
Please don't take my sunshine away.
But then again, for others it isn't. Last year's fair attracted almost 7,000 people, with expectations even greater this year.
And in 2000, local advocates looked to build the border city's first homeless shelter.
Would try to do whatever we could with donations of food and just a little bit of time with a few people preparing it to serve it to those who are in need.
According to Heather Gray of the Lloydminster Social Action Coalition, the number of those in need is rising.
In 1999, we conducted a survey and we concluded that there was 300 people who needed emergency services within our city. That was on a yearly basis.
As a result, the coalition wants to build a shelter.
A place where the homeless are safe. And I think that's a big issue, is the safety of these people and the safety of the community. It's hand in hand.
Safety and security that can give a person back the power of choice.
When we talk about people that are homeless, oftentimes it's not by choice. It's the result of several circumstances throughout a period of time that have eliminated all other positive choices.
This doesn't only apply to the homeless as per se, but to anyone in need. And this is the mandate of not only the Social Action Coalition, but the Lloydminster Soup Kitchen.
And that's it for this week in retrospect.
Retrospect is brought to you by Webb's Machinery. Find New Holland products at Webb's Machinery, your dealer in Vermilion, Vegreville, Lamont, Wainwright, St. Paul, and Consulate.
Now our Connor channel, take a look at your weather forecast.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. Looking right now, -9 is what we currently sit at with some cloud coverage, and that's going to be what we could see overnight. A little bit warmer temperatures are going to be on the way here over the next little bit here, including some snow as early as Wednesday here. But right now, -9 with the wind chill feels more so like -16. As we take a look at some other temperatures in the area, a little bit warmer out in Edmonton at -2, -8 we see in St. Paul, Cold Lake, and Pearson, as well as in Wainwright and in Provost. -7 right now for Macklin, and then -9s also we see in some areas in Saskatchewan like St. Walburg, Maidstone, and North Battleford as well. A little bit colder up in Isle La Crosse and Green Lake at -10, and then we see -5 in Lac La Biche. Not a whole lot of snow activity that's to really report on. Mostly just cloud coverage throughout most of it there. We do see some areas of some snow out in the out west in Edmonton there. And again, we could be seeing some of that snow coming our way the next couple of days or so. As we look at overnight, North Battleford, -12 overnight with some cloud coverage there, continuing on with that into tomorrow with that daytime high there of -7. Looking at Cold Lake, -10 overnight, going into -5 for tomorrow with the daytime high. And that for us here in Lloydminster, -11 overnight tonight, and then going into -6 expected for our daytime high tomorrow. We're going to see a bit of a day where we see a little bit of warmer temperatures, but of course, as we look into Wednesday there, that's when we could see 81% chance of getting some snow there. We are expected possibly to get 1 to 3 centimeters throughout the day there. With that wind chill, it could feel more so like -17, so a big jump there. And then looking at Thursday, we'll get some sunshine back with that daytime high of -6 there and -10 to start the day off there. And with the wind chill, it could feel more so like -13 throughout the day. But that's a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Alberta Health Services is marking November 22nd to the 28th National Addictions Awareness Week. Our Shelby Clark spoke with residents in recovery to find out how people can spread awareness.
I'm speaking with Executive Director of Residents in Recovery, Tyler Lorenz. How are you today?
Great, thank you.
So Alberta Health Services is marking November 22nd to the 28th National Addictions Awareness Week. Why do you believe this is so important?
Yeah, it's important that we, recognize, the impact addiction has on our families and our communities. Many people are really struggling right now, especially with COVID. It's really impacted those that struggle with addiction in a negative way, more so than the average population, I would say. As addicts in recovery or alcoholics in recovery, we really need connection, in order to stay in our recovery programs. And COVID has, really caused the opposite of that. So it's been a struggle for many people, and, we're seeing higher numbers than we ever have. Overdoses, North America wide are way up. And, it's clear that the impact that COVID has on addictions, it has been, devastating.
And is Residents in Recovery here in Lloydminster planning anything to help spread awareness for it here in Lloydminster for this week?
Yeah, it's really difficult right now. We have nothing planned. We actually, as of today, have decided to, kind of go into a lockdown ourselves with the clients in the houses. So clients that are in our sober living program will not be interacting with the public for the next few weeks, to see if numbers come down. Our office will still be open, programming will still be available for the community, but we're just going to prevent interaction between clients and the public. It's not a good time right now to really do anything. In groups of any sort. We try and, in cooperation with with Reeves College to do a memorial night, which we're probably not going to be able to do. Might have to do something virtually, unfortunately, but, it's really tough right now to do anything in the groups.
And especially since it's tough with residents in recovery during COVID, how can residents here in Lloydminster help spread awareness and support for this week?
Sure, I think just recognizing it, everybody knows somebody that struggles with addiction, whether we want to admit it or not. you know, there's virtually not a family that is not touched by somebody that struggles with addiction. It's so widespread in our community and every community. You know, it's really, we're at the point right now that we should be able to recognize that, you know, addiction's not just this, you know, something that we need to hide away, this family secret. You know, it's something that is treatable. You know, and the only way to get help for somebody is if we acknowledge it. And the way to acknowledge it, you know, is maintaining that connection with individuals. You know, not, you know, shaming them or casting them out of the family or you know, the community. And we really need to step up, you know, all together to help people fight through addiction rather than, you know, pushing them away.
And since you're saying that residents in recovery are shut down officially today from COVID-19, before, what has residents in recovery been doing to help with individuals dealing with addictions during the pandemic so far?
Sure. I mean, we act, you know, in a number of different roles. We tend to be a entry point for many individuals that want to start their recovery journey. They don't know where to go, who to turn. You know, we'll get them into detox, you know, or if that's not their chosen path or their path yet, you know, we offer harm reduction supplies as well. You know, just to keep people safe until they're ready to, you know, make the change. We also help families. You know, many families don't know where to turn, you know, how to help their loved one. And you know, a good percentage of our calls every day come from family members, you know, desperate to help their loved one and have no idea where to turn or how to go about it, or even how to talk to their loved one. And you know, that's a big part of it, is just that communication piece. And how do we motivate people to get into recovery and see that there is hope, that there is a chance to turn their life around. They don't have to be stuck in, you know, in addiction for the rest of their life.
Well, thank you so much for joining me again today, Tyler.
Thanks for having me, Shelby. Have a good day.
Now we'll take a look at your egg prices. Now on to the gridiron. After another weekend of NFL action, Evan Kenny and Eric Bay break down the biggest games.
Well, after another busy weekend of NFL football, I'm pleased to be joined today by Eric Bay. Eric, thank you for joining me.
For sure, definitely lots to talk about here as we head into the stretch run.
For sure, and one of those things being the New Orleans Saints. Now, Eric, last week it was reported that their quarterback, Drew Brees, was going to be out for multiple weeks, breaking multiple ribs and a collapsed lung. Now, taking over in his place was, you know, usually third-string quarterback Taysom Hill, who did end up carrying them to a win, 24-9 over the Atlanta Falcons. I guess, Eric, are you surprised, first of all, that Taysom Hill got the start, but second of all, that he was able to get a win?
You know, a little bit on first look, when you hear that headline, you are a little surprised when Jameis Winston is brought in and kind of seen as the for sure backup. But I think with Jameis Winston, what you get is boom or bust. He obviously broke a record with 30 interceptions last season. And I think this Saints team right now, all they really need is a guy who will game manage this game and not turn the ball over. And so from that aspect, I'm not surprised at all that the Saints got a win, because their defense has been lights out and is probably the best defense in football right now. I mean, obviously, everybody points to the Sunday Night Football game, 3 points given up to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a few weeks ago, 13 last week to the 49ers, and then only 9 this week to the Falcons, along with 8 sacks on Matt Ryan. So again, they just needed a guy who was going to come in, get the ball down the field, give them a few points, and not turn it over, and that's what Taysom Hill did.
Taysom Hill, exactly like you just said. He only missed 5 passes all game and added 2 rushing touchdowns of his own to keep those Saints rolling, keep them atop of the hierarchy in the standings there. Moving on, now another team who took a tough loss was the Baltimore Ravens, and that is 2 in a row. They lost 24-30 to the Tennessee Titans in overtime. Eric, are we starting to see the Ravens possibly be crumbling? Not quite the team we saw last year?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. Obviously, there's going to be some lulls here in this season, and you even look at the Titans. They were on a streak there, 3 straight losses after going 6-0. So this was really a must-win game for them to kind of prove that they still belong here in the top of the AFC, and I think they did that. So again, for the most part, I don't think it was a bad game for the Ravens. They obviously would have liked to hold on to the ball more there in that second half and keep it out of the Titans' hands. But I think what really happened was a guy like Derrick Henry, he really starts to run you down and wear you out in the third and fourth quarters, and that's really what happened here. He was able to break off some bigger runs, including that game-winning 29-yard run in overtime to give the Titans the win.
And big runs are something that we're not really seeing from Baltimore as much as me personally, as I would like. You know, just watching Lamar Jackson last year compared to this year, I mean, even just last game, only 50 rushing yards for Jackson. He's sort of that dual threat guy. But is it just me, or do teams seem to start to be catching on to his scheme?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you go 14-2 last season, now you have a season and a half to kind of get around him. Coordinators are going to scheme for him and see what other teams did that worked. And I mean, this is a team that lost to the Titans last year in the playoffs, and the Titans really played their game plan to perfection there. So I think teams are starting to figure it out, and now it's going to be up to the Ravens here as they continue. Can they adjust, give Lamar Jackson the ball, and have him be able to make plays with his arm as well as his feet to propel this team forward?
And now tough test coming up for Baltimore as they will take on the Pittsburgh Steelers with their next game. Final game that we are going to talk about from the past weekend was the Kansas City Chiefs win over the Las Vegas Raiders 35-31. Another close game after taking their only loss of the season to Vegas earlier this season. Just what were your initial thoughts of that game, Eric?
I mean, I think if Derek Carr continues to play the way he's played those last 2 games against the Chiefs, this is going to be a scary team if they make the playoffs. And I know this loss obviously puts them to 6-4, which is tough as they are sitting in that 7th and final playoff seat in the AFC. But this team looks like a team that is ready to take that next step. Their offense was rolling, and they did, I thought, a pretty good job of keeping the Chiefs away from those big plays. Obviously, most of their scoring drives were long, 15, 14-play drives. And I think that's very positive for a team that lost a lot of practice this week because of COVID contact tracing, didn't get a lot of reps in. So I think this is something the Raiders can build on. And hey, looking forward, this is a good game for them despite the loss, and I think they look very competitive here as we head into that final stretch.
Now, Eric, this was a tight ends game with Darren Waller going off. He went 7 for 7 with 88 yards and 1 touchdown. And then on the other end of the ball, Travis Kelce, he went 8 for 10, 127 yards with 1 touchdown. I mean, each of these guys, these are 2 of the best tight ends in the league, and they really went at it, like you said there, Eric.
Yeah, again, obviously those are going to be kind of your main targets. They're obviously matchup nightmares, especially Darren Waller, 6'6", 250 pounds, runs a 4.4 40. I mean, how do you match up with this guy in space, especially as a smaller corner? So these guys are definitely going to be big targets and continue to be stars here in the league for years to come.
Eric, thank you very much, and I look forward to watching another week of the NFL.
Yeah, it should be exciting here with Thanksgiving in the States coming up.
Now we're Connor and Chan. We'll take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Taking a look right now, -9 still is currently what we're sitting at right now for us here in Lloydminster. As we look out west, there's some areas that are a little bit warmer in Edmonton at -2, Edson at -3. We see -1 out in Jasper right now, and also -4 right now in Whitecourt with -3 in Rocky Mountain House and in Athabasca. Look, we look up north in Cold Lake and Meadow Lake, -8 for both of those places. -9 also in North Battleford, and we see -10 in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, while -7 is the temperature in Melfort. Now, as we look up north in northern Saskatchewan to start, a little bit colder in Uranium City and Stony Rapids, sitting at -15 and -16. We also see -15 in Wollaston Lake, -14 also for La Loche and Buffalo Narrows. We also see La Ronge at -11, and then -9 in Flin Flon. A little bit warmer in some areas like Peace River and Grand Prairie, and -7 and -5. -6 for Slave Lake currently right now, -9 in Fort McMurray, and then -12 in Fort Chipeway. And then we see -15 up in High Level. Now looking at southern Alberta and Saskatchewan, we see -6 currently for both Coronation and in Medicine Hat, -1 in Lethbridge, 0 degrees in Calgary, and -3 in Banff right now. Looking in southern Saskatchewan, a little bit colder in areas like Kindersley and Swift Current, sitting at -12 and -11 respectively there. -6 in Moose Jaw, with -7 in Regina, and then -5 degrees in Yorkton right now, while Estevan sits at -2, fairly warmer compared to some of those other cities. As we look across the country here, Toronto starting to get a little bit colder right now at +3 right now with some cloud coverage. 1 degree in Quebec City, and then -1 in St. John's, with 12 degrees in Halifax and some showers. -7 in Regina, as I mentioned, so lots of cloud coverage throughout most of the country here. -5 in Winnipeg, 7 degrees out in Vancouver, -13 up in Yellowknife, and then -6 degrees in Whitehorse right now. Now this is what we could see for tomorrow. -6 is our expected daytime high. We're going to start to see a little bit of warmer temperatures-ish in terms of like -3s to -1s throughout the week. It's going to be kind of all over the place there, including some snow expected there on Wednesday. But looking at -4 in Vermilion tomorrow, along with St. Paul, 0 in Edmonton, -6 in Bonnyville and Pearceland tomorrow. As we look at Provost Immaculate at -4 and -3, then we'll also see -7s in Maidstone and North Battleford, and then we'll see consistent -6s up in St. Walburg, Meadow Lake, and in Green Lake as well. So here's a look at the next 7 days. I did mention snow for Wednesday. We are expected possibly a 1 to 3 centimeters of snow for that day there. -6 on Thursday, -2 on Friday, as we are going to see a little bit warmer mornings as well in those days, as we see -6s as our daytime low there, and lots of sunshine expected there over those next several days after Wednesday. -3 on Saturday, -5 on Sunday there, and then we'll go back to -3 on Monday with that low there of -9. But that is a look at your 7-day forecast for now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
I'm joined today with Alex Wilson. He's the president of the United Way Lloydminster and District. Alex, thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
Thanks for having me on the air with you, Jace. I appreciate it.
So first of all, just before we get into, we're going to be talking a little bit about a 50-50 raffle that's upcoming. But first, can you just tell me a little bit about what the United Way is and what you guys do for the community?
You bet. Yeah, so we are an organization. We're 8 board members, including myself. We've been in Lloydminster, honestly, for a really long time, about since the 50s, I believe. And we act as the primary vehicle, essentially, for corporations and individuals to donate to a group where we would then distribute those funds throughout the community.
And the 3rd annual Holiday 50-50 is coming up, and people are able to buy tickets for that. Can you just tell me a little bit about how that 50-50 is going to work?
You bet. Yeah, so we have our annual 50-50 coming up. This is our 3rd one, as you mentioned. The prize, you can win up to $10,000. We have 4,000 tickets we're hoping to sell. With this being obviously a very unique year, we are allowing for people to purchase them via e-transfer to avoid the whole contact thing. And to be completely frank, it's easy on our end too to execute it. For those who would be interested in purchasing a ticket, they're $5 each. Obviously, if you win it, you'll get half of the winnings, where the other half would be retained by us. You can go to our website at lloydminster.unitedway.ca, and on there we have all the information you would need to purchase tickets via e-transfer.
So obviously with the 50-50, United Way is going to be keeping 50% of that. What is that money going to be going towards?
So this year, we're kind of taking a new approach to how we're handling our funding. As you may know, we had a breakfast day back in October, which was very successful. We raised a really good amount of money. We're kind of focusing now on doing ad hoc donations. So what we're essentially doing is we're sitting back almost and letting people come to us with proposals and things that they would like to do for the money. That way, we feel like we can be most effective in this manner. We do have the capabilities of kind of doing wide sweeping charitable acts, but if we did that, we would quickly run out of all of the ammo in our war chest, so to say. So for example, we're helping to support a volleyball group in town to purchase some equipment. We're helping the Kitscoty minor hockey team out there. We're helping out Mount Joy, and we're also helping to buy some coats for a school here in town. So for those that do have ideas, would like a little extra support, obviously it's a very existential year. We encourage them to email either myself at president@lloydminster admin.unitedway.ca, or our administrator at admin@lloydminster.unitedway.ca.
And earlier in this month, I believe, the United Way donated funds to about 11 organizations here in the community. How important was it for the United Way to be able to give that money out, especially in a year like 2020?
Oh, 2020 is obviously, it's been a crazy year for everybody, and we're no exception to it. It really feels great to be able to help out the community, help out to keep the funds local, keep them here in town, and to see where they're going. And being able to meet and talk with all the directors and founders of these organizations, I can tell you firsthand that they're in a budget crisis this year. Their donations have dropped. So every penny really goes, it went far to begin with, but now it goes even further. And it really feels great to be able to help to distribute funds close to home. This year, thanks to all the really generous support we've had from the government of Alberta, government of Canada, a few corporate sponsors as well, we're probably going to end the year donating and distributing about $500,000 throughout our community.
All right, Alex, just before we go, is there anything else that you want to add for our viewers to know about?
I'd just like to add, we're always open to ideas. We're always open to supporting organizations in any way or capacity that we can. And we're just happy to be here and happy to help.
All right, Alex, thanks for taking some time to talk with me today. And again, for the people who are looking to take part in that Holiday 50/50, you can find more information on the United Way website.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jace.
Awesome.
I'm joined here with Mark Jolinsky, and he is with the Lloydminster Kinsman Club. Now, this year, the Kinsman Club is selling their Christmas trees once again, so how will it work?
So far, we're kind of getting everything organized the last couple of weeks. The Christmas trees are set to come in on Thursday. They're getting delivered on the 26th, and then we'll start on the 27th, start selling at starting at 6 p.m. And then we keep selling every day until they're all gone.
And where will these be sold?
We're selling out of the Aztec Safety parking lot again this year. It's kind of a working relationship we have with their business. They're quite accommodating for us. And they let us use a little section of their parking lot free of charge, so that's a great community support for them, for sure. And then we're doing a bit of a 50/50 raffle at the Tree Shack as well, so maybe get a little extra Christmas cash this year for some lucky winner.
And what does it mean to the club to help the community and do this event at this time?
Just this time with everything going on this year, with COVID and the economy and in Lloydminster, I think it's something great that we're able to still put on for the community. I know our members and volunteers are definitely pretty excited to be able to get out in the community again a little bit and do something like Christmas trees. We've had lots of Facebook and social media posts from different people in the community, pretty excited to come pick out a Christmas tree with their family. Just our only restriction is to kind of social distance while you're there, just to kind of respect our members. But other than that, we're pretty excited to be able to do something and help out the community, and all our funds go back into different projects and different other community organizations as well.
So for help for the Kinsman Club, they get, like you said, the funds go back into the community. So especially during COVID, it's been difficult for certain businesses. So being able to offer that must feel something that the Kinsman Club is pretty proud that they can do.
As I can probably speak for most of the people in the Kinsman Club, it kind of brings a lot of pride for our members to be able to give back to our community in different ways, and even with our hall now that we're working with the Elks to purchase, it's a kind of a different way to give back and be able to use the hall, and other organizations being able to use the hall as well. And just helping out different organizations and doing different playground parks and other projects that we come up with. And we're working with the city as well on some future projects. So it's always kind of nice to be able to help and volunteer our time where we can.
And if anyone is looking for any more information on the Christmas trees or other events, should they just go to the Kinsman Club's Facebook page?
Yeah, they can go to our Facebook page or our website as well, at lloydkinsman.com. We're kind of trying to keep that updated. And yeah, watch our Facebook and Twitter. Just one thing I wanted to mention was new this year. We're putting out a delivery form so people can have their tree delivered by one of our members. So you know, if they have to self-isolate or just can't get out to get a tree this year with everything going on, we're offering that as a new incentive.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mark.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for reaching out and getting in contact with us.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Primetime Local News. Have a great night.